We at Speaking of Horses would like to thank the people who have made Speaking of Horses TV possible. To Equessentials, all your horse grooming, coat and care products specifically designed for your horse. A thank you to King Barns, custom-built barns, any style, any project you'd like. Get a hold of King Barns. To Overland Carts, if you want that versatile utility cart for your stable that can do anything, check out Overland Carts. Stall Butler, a unique design on how you can muck your stalls and save 90% of your shavings for reuse. Check out Stall Butler. And Eagle Erie Equine, modular systems for saddle racks, tack bars, and the like. Totally organize your tack room with Eagle Erie Equine. Thanks to all of these fine people who make Speaking of Horses possible. Well, welcome to our January 2014 World of Equine News Report. I'm your host, Wayne Williams, and we at Speaking of Horses TV welcome you. First of all, we're going to say Happy New Year. This is January, and we are off for 2014. Now, first we're going to go to Florida, Wellington, Florida, that is, because they're gearing up for 2014. Equestrian Sport Productions is excited to announce that a 5,000 junior amateur jumper speed exhibition class will be sponsored by Entrust Capital, and it's been added to the schedule at the Trump Invitational, presented by Rolex on Sunday. That's January 5th, so most of you watching it will already have occurred. The opportunity for 12 junior and amateur riders is there to compete at the beautiful Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach. On the island there, it's not one to be missed. The call is going out for top juniors and amateurs to enter their name for consideration. Now, the $5,000 junior amateur jumper speed exhibition class, sponsored by Entrust Capital, will be held following the conclusion of the $125,000 Trump Invitational Grand Prix, also presented by Rolex, and will give junior and amateur riders a special experience of competing at this unique event. Well, you know, we were recently at an event in Fort Worth, Texas, Ameriquine. It featured horse clinics as well as some great entertainment. Now, we want to show you this. Here's a bit of a concert that we filmed with Western music legend Don Edwards. Watch this and enjoy from Fort Worth.
Be a grand roundup where cowboys and others will stand, to be marked by the riders of judgment who are posted and know all the brand. That road to that bright mystic region is a dim, narrow trail, so they say, but the one that leads down to perdition is posted and know all the way. The lightning rolled in hoops and circles. The rain in sheets was coming down as thunder rattled through the gulches and the hoofbeats shook the ground. Cowhands rode hell for leather, begging God for the break of day. A stampede beat the best camp meeting when it come to getting men to pray. I was but a young man, wild and full of fire, a youth within my teens, full of challenge and desire. Ran away from home, left my mother and my dad. It grieved them so to think their only boy was bad. I fell in with an outlaw band, the names were known quite well. How many times we robbed and plundered I could never tell. This kind of sinful living leads only to a fall. I learned that much and more the night I heard my master. And his word shall be fulfilled, 'cause there's strange things happening in the land. blood all around the rim. I can hear the thunder crashing, Lord, I hear the lightning flashing.
Well, we'd like to take a moment and thank people who make Speaking of Horses TV possible. We want to thank One Source Nutrition, the perfect blend of nutrients to help your horse. It's One Source Nutrition. And Revitavet, equine light therapy, for either toning up muscles before competitions or to promote rapid healing. You want Revitavet. Equine Savings. This program can save you up to 25% on tractors, stable equipment, yes, and even on barn paint. Be sure and go to Equine Savings and check it out. To Hoosier Horse Trailers. Quality horse trailers, living quarters, you and your horse can ride in comfort. And Saratoga Stalls. Classic equine stalls built specifically for you. Thank you to Saratoga Stalls. And thanks to everyone who makes Speaking of Horses TV possible. Well, our dateline is Canada Horse Breeders and Owners Conference. That's going to be held, so don't miss the upcoming conference. Now, the date for that conference is actually January 10th to the 12th in Red Deer, Alberta. Now, this conference is educational, it's affordable, and of course, it's fun. Now, whether you own a horse or many horses, or even are just thinking about buying a horse, this conference is for you. Some of the topics to be covered will be saddle fitting, nutrition, hoof care, ranch horsemanship, colic, heaves, reproduction, and etc. This is a not-to-miss event, the only conference of its kind bringing you world-renowned experts to Alberta, Canada. To register, you can contact Robin Moore at 403-420-5949 or email hboc@albertahorseindustry.ca for Canada. Also, the new Canadian Natural Horsemanship Clinic dates for 2014 are set. Now, the dates for 2014 clinics will be posted on or before January 6th on the website, and that is CanadianNaturalHorsemanship.com. Well, you know, one of our new features is a report from the Pacific Northwest here in the United States, and Leah Hoover. Here is our latest report from our field reporter, Leah.
We're here in Lake Oswego, Oregon at the Lake Oswego Hunt Club, and I'm here with Brandy Ebner, and we're going to learn about the Oregon Horse Country. So Brandy, could you tell us something about it?
Sure. Oregon Horse Country was formed 2 years ago, and it's basically like a statewide equestrian chamber of commerce. There's no program like us operating in Oregon, focusing on the business and the industrial side of the equine industry.
So what does it take to be a member of Oregon Horse Country?
Anybody can be a member who's involved in the equine industry in some way. We have members who are tourism programs, people who are professional business people, as well as trainers in barns and people who use horses in their everyday life.
And what are the benefits of being a member?
Some of the main benefits of membership is exposure throughout the state. For only $100 a year, you can be listed on our website, in our event calendar, in our brand new Oregon Equine Directory, and you also get attendance at all of our networking and educational events across the state.
So Oregon Horse Country's website is very well put together. It has a great event calendar. Anyone can list events on there, so it's really the spot to go to find events. We're actually here in Lake Oswego for a networking event. So can you tell us about the networking events a little bit?
Yeah, throughout the month,
Can you tell us about the networking events a little bit?
Yeah, we hold different events throughout the whole state of Oregon. In the northern Willamette Valley, where we have a much larger horse population, we hold a networking event on the first Monday of every month. And then in other regions of our state, we hold a quarterly networking event. And it's simply an opportunity to get all types of equestrians together, regardless of their discipline or their involvement in the horse industry. They get to network with each other, be able to share references, and be able to help each other out.
Great. And the Oregon Horse Country can also be found at the Oregon Expo, right?
The Northwest Horse Expo in Albany.
Okay. And a lot of other Oregon equine events. So I think that Oregon Horse Country could be a really great program for any other states. It's a really great opportunity for for the equine business people to really network with each other. So thank you for being here with me, Brandy.
Thank you.
Well, in January 2014, we're going to be at the Horse World Expo in Baltimore, actually Timonium. Here's a short promo on the event. Join us there. Come by and say hi if you can in Baltimore at the Maryland State Fairgrounds. Watch. Hey, Wayne Williams, speaking of horses, inviting you to join us in Baltimore, Maryland. Actually, we'll be in Timonium, just on the north edge of Baltimore, at the Maryland State Fairgrounds for Horse World Expo in Maryland, January 17th to the 19th. We've got a wonderful lineup for you there. We have Equitainment. That's a special entertainment area. 1 hour of entertainment every day just for you. Join us for Equitainment. Also, a trail challenge. We're going to have a wonderful trail challenge, a 2-part event for this trail challenge, with competitions being held at Maryland in January, and then again following in February when we are in Harrisburg for the Horse World Expo there. We'll have the second part of this trail challenge. There's also a 100-day training challenge for thoroughbreds. You don't want to miss this as well. We have Jacques Ballou, world-class dressage. Mr. Craig Cameron will be there with his Ride Smart. Kenny Harlow, training with trust. Gary Lane, a top gaited horse clinician, will join us. Also, we have Heidi McLaughlin on the Fearless Rider. Scott Purdom, Advantage Horsemanship. And Stuart Pittman and his retired racehorse program. And as always, we have tons of vendors, wonderful shopping, education, entertainment with our Equitainment presentation. All of this for the horse lover in Timonium, north of Baltimore, Maryland, at the State Fairgrounds. That's this January 17th to the 19th, 2014. Join us. Speaking of horses, we'll be there and look forward to seeing you. You know, the Center for America's First Horse announces a scholarship. Destiny's Legacy is a scholarship fund created to provide programs named in honor and memoriam of Destiny. That's a young Spanish Mustang filly raised at the center who tragically passed away in 2013. Now, Destiny's precarious spirit and potential as one of our meaningful teaching horses remind us that every living being strives to reach its highest creativity through a sense of belonging, exploration, balance, living, health, and fun. Through Destiny's Legacy, offered opportunities and tuitional scholarships for people to find their own paths toward personal growth and inner strength in safe, interactive relationships with our Spanish Mustangs. So please consider contributing to Destiny's Legacy. Your donation makes it possible to provide life-enriching experiences for those who would not have access or be able to participate due to financial constraints. Your monetary gift and help under the privileged children, youth, individuals and families, unique experimental learning opportunities with our rare horses. Your donation to Destiny's Legacy helps fund this scholarship program. Contact them at the Center for America's First Horse.org. Well, you know, in February, we're going to be in Murfreesboro, Tennessee for the Southern Equine Expo. Now, here's a short promo about this event. Join us there if you can. It's in the Miller Arena in Murfreesboro, just outside Nashville. Watch. Hi, this is Wayne Williams speaking of horses. We're going to be at the Southern Equine Expo in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and that is February 14, 15, and 16 of 2014. We look forward to seeing you there. We're going to be there with Speaking of Horses. We'll be filming, interviewing, and we'll be announcing many of the events. Headlining the Southern Equine Expo this year, none other than Mr. Chris Cox. Chris was raised in Australia, now resides in Texas, is known around the world for his horsemanship skills, and we're very glad to have Chris Cox, who is also a Road to the Horse champion and many other titles, join us at the Southern Equine Expo in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Jack Brainerd is going to be with us. Now, he's been teaching people for many decades. He's quite the horseman, the instructor, educator. Jack Brainerd joins us. Tammy Crawford on dressage and eventing. You don't want to miss Tammy. Also, we have Linda Wysocki coming. Linda brings her special talents in clinics and talks at the Southern Equine Expo. Chase Dodd. Chase has done wonderful things in the Mustang Challenge programs. Chase is going to be there. He is a Tennessee boy, and he would love to see you. So Chase Dodd, one of the featured clinicians. And we have Mr. Mark Lyon. Mark is going to be there with his brand of training and exhibiting. Also, we're going to have many, many vendors. You've got great shopping. You've got great educators. You've got great clinicians, great horse people, various breeds to see. And last but not least, on Saturday night, we have a wonderful entertainment show where we bring many of our top horsemen together, put on quite an evening for you. So join us at Speaking of Horses. We're going to be there at the Southern Equine Expo, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and that is February 14, 15, and 16 of 2014. We'll see you there. Now we've got some news from Colorado. You know, the Colorado Horse Council had a very eventful year in the Colorado equine industry. CHC is the go-to place for information, and it's evident especially when there's a fire, a flood, a drought. Herpes virus outbreaks in horses are always when there are questions regarding equine welfare. Our Colorado Horse Council leaders are sought out for their support and their knowledge throughout the state and the nation. Now, your organization and the Colorado Horse Council has a group of members who are influential in many aspects of the horse. One opportunity occurred when the Colorado Horse Development Authority invited members of the CHC to participate in their strategic planning meeting. The Colorado Horse Development Authority's goal was to look to the future of the equine industry in Colorado and design goals to meet that future. The annual meeting in November of 2013 was jam-packed, full of information and results. Our boards and committees have worked very hard to give the equine industry what they need to thrive. With 2 volunteer boards, we are grateful to those that give their time, skills, and efforts. We elected 2 new board members to our annual meeting board. The 2 familiar faces are Scott McEldowney from Castle Rock, one of the Lone Rangers in Douglas County. Scott is a park ranger, land management professional, and has been a longtime supporter of the CHC activities for many years. He and the posse were a great help at this year's Heritage Ride also. Well, while we were at Ameriquine in Fort Worth, we also caught up with a trick roper, one who also works at the Will Rogers Museum in Claremore, Oklahoma. He's a great roper and a great individual. Here's that interview. We're at Ameriquine in beautiful Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm very pleased to be standing here right now. If you see the banner here, it says the Stars of Ameriquine. Well, Doug has been appearing on stage here doing some rope tricks, and Doug is a professional trick roper, champion roper.
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about the history of how you started doing this, and in a minute, we're going to have him show you a little bit.
Well, I grew up in the 50s when cowboys and Indians was it, you know, and of course I had a little rope. And I actually learned how to twirl it just a little bit, and that kind of lay dormant till I got to be, when I moved to Ohio, I was about 18, and I met a guy, Pop Wagner, who's a real good guitar picker, played a fiddle, could call square dances, wrote great songs, and he was a rope spinner. And I looked at what he was doing and I thought, why should he have all that fun? And I stole everything he had, and then I was ready for more.
So you've been spinning a loop for quite a few years now.
Oh, it's actually, if you can be serious about rope spinning, which is questionable, I've been at it for about 25 years.
I think it's kind of apropos. We're right outside Will Rogers Arena, and if you want to talk about spinning the rope, Will Rogers is kind of the standard to that.
Well, I got interested in Will Rogers because I was spinning ropes, and I read a book about him, and I read another book, and then I started collecting Will Rogers memorabilia, and now I have over 100 books by or about him. I've read them all, and I'm just coming from the Will Rogers Memorial Museum up in Claremore. Yeah.
Wow. And I'll just put this plug into, if you've ever seen, it was a silent movie called The Roping Fool.
1922.
If you want to see everything that Will Rogers can do, I saw a narration about that, and there's a little kid sitting he's like 4 or 5 years old, and he's sitting on the steps outside one of the buildings while Will Rogers is doing all the roping. That's Will Rogers Jr. He did the narration, says, now I'm in that film, I'm right over there, but he ropes everything to a mouse.
It's really worth seeing, and for a rope spinner, it's something you can look at repeatedly and learn things every time you look at it.
Yeah, he was a classic. All right, we really appreciate you joining us here. Now we're gonna watch a little bit of this rope spinning right now. So stay right here. We got this coming on Speaking of Horses.
Good morning. Approximately 5 minutes. This is Underwear at a seminar in the Polish Memorial Ring on rider safety.
We at Speaking of Horses would like to thank some of the people who helped to make Speaking of Horses TV possible. A big thank you to Equine Clot. Equine Clot is a wonderful product. Carry it in your saddlebag, put it in your first aid kit, wrap it on an equine wound. It immediately promotes clotting and is a great first aid tool. Thank you to Equine Clot. And to EquestraSafe, a complete line of equestrian riding products for trail, for arena, for wherever. From reflective vests, reflective headgear, tapes, signage, everything you need to ride safely and to be safe with your horse is available at EquestraSafe.com. Check them out. Thanks to all of the fine people that make Speaking of Horses TV possible. You know, in December of 2013, we were in Las Vegas for the NFR, that's the National Finals Rodeo. We caught up with some interesting people attending the NFR. Watch some of these people. While we were getting set, you were listening to some of that fine music in the background, but we're at Mandalay Bay, and this is the Cowboy Marketplace, and this is one of the wonderful shopping venues here during the NFR. Donna's with me from CSI Saddle Pads. First of all, thank you for sponsoring part of this event, for Speaking of Horses to be out here. So tell us how it's going out here at the NFR.
You know, it's amazing. It's an awesome place to be. I'm so glad that people have the opportunity that are at home to see this and to be a part of it by people like yourself. That's really good.
It's if you haven't been out here, it's a wonderful, wonderful venue. I mean, there's shopping everywhere. Of course, there's Vegas. There's everything you want, you know. But you guys have got a great booth here, and you're busy. I had to pull you away to come over here and do this.
We've been very blessed. It's been a good show, and people are coming. The word's getting out about CSI Saddle Pads, and people are looking for us now. They're hungry to help their horses, and that's always a good thing.
And you're right here by the stage. There's a marketplace stage over here, and I don't know who's for sure singing, but she's doing it.
Reba's sister, Susie McIntyre.
That's Susie McIntyre, Reba's sister. I'll be darned. Well, she's pretty good, I'll tell you that. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, now, are you in other venues here or just here?
Nope, we're here at Mandalay Bay in booth 800. We're at Sands in booth 736, and then we're also out at South Point behind the chutes. So we're all over the place just trying to get it out there.
Well, we're glad to be here and doing these live feeds, and of course we are also recording this, so I mean, not that it's going to do any good right now, but eventually these feeds will all be archived, so they will be available to view on Speaking of Horses, and we'll make them available to CSI if you want to put them up so you can see some of these live feeds that we're doing here. So I know you're busy, but you've also got Heidi McLaughlin working with you, and I work with Heidi. She's on my Speaking of Horses affiliate channel. Yeah. Heidi's does a wonderful job on Fearless Riders, so maybe we'll get a chance to talk to her.
Well, let's see if we can find her and get her over here.
Do that. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. We'll get Heidi to come over here. She is on the Speaking of Horses affiliate channel, and she is does a book called The Fearless Rider, and Heidi does a great job. Heidi will be right with us. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Heidi McLaughlin here, and you're here working the booth with CSI Saddle Pads. Have you been here all week?
I've been here all week. I got here, oh my gosh, the week has just gone by for me. I got here last Wednesday, so I've been here. This is my 9th day, and it's been a great show. I am sponsored by CSI Saddle Pads, and so I like to come out and tell my experience with how great these pads are, along with trying to continue to help people with fear issues, which is what I do.
Right. Well, tell us about your book.
I wrote a book called Kick Your Fear of Horses. KICK is an acronym, and the first K means keep at it, don't give up. I means invest. C means courage, and the last K that we spend a lot of time on in the book is knowledge. And so I go around and I do speaking engagements. I also do little clinics. I go to all the expos, and while I'm there, I also like to tell people about how great my experience is with my horses and CSI Saddle Pads.
Yeah. Well, of course, you're on the affiliate program of Speaking of Horses, and you know, we periodically change out things there, but you're airing there for quite a few more months, and we're happy to have you doing that. So, you know, and you're hitting a lot of horse expos now too.
I've been all over this past year in 2013, and I got a pretty big busy schedule in 2014. I will be at Pomona. I will be at the Midwest Horse Fair. I'll be at Road to the Horse. I'll be in Lansing, Michigan. So I've got quite a busy schedule for 2014. I'm still working out some of the details. I have some clinics coming up, so I'm keeping pretty busy.
Well, that's good, and of course, it's a lot going on here at at the NFR. They kind of take over Vegas, you know, and go to town. So
it's a lot of electricity here. It feels good. It feels good to be in this kind of crazy city, but have all the cowboys and cowgirls around.
Yeah.
Have the NFR going on. I got to go night before last, and it's just there's so much electricity and energy in the air. I love being here.
yeah, it's fun, and I'm glad CSI jumped on board for some of these live feeds. I appreciate that with Donna, and we're really glad to be here doing this. We're just kind of traveling around from 2 or 3 of the different events and doing the live feeds. We're also recording them, so they'll be up for posterity. You can go home later and watch yourself, right?
I've always thought that was really good. You have such great videos on your website from so many great professionals talking about so many different products and things that can always make us as better riders and our horses more comfortable and just I think you do a great thing, Wayne.
Well, that's our report for January 2014. We'll be back in February. We'll see you then on Speaking of Horses, or we'll see you down the trail.